I got a really cool question from a viewer.
Oh.
Get myself a leg rest while I read this. So, I got this question. Hey Ariel, I'd like to release the negative blockages in me, like past negative memories, fear, anxiety, which are all starting to surface a lot lately, and I can't even seem to live normal daily routines with it. I've been heavily into personal development and spiritual seeking for the last year. Had some amazing highs and some very bad lows. Yeah, it seems to just be part of the process. I've now decided to give up seeking, as the mind just plays games and tricks as a future task for awakening. So I purely want to just release and let go of the negative blockages in me and to be more free. And I wanted to see what advice you would give me to release these negative energies that are taking over and controlling my life actions. Well, okay, so let's address a couple of these points before we continue with your question. The last part there is, you want to release the negative energies that are, quote, taking over and controlling your life actions. Yeah, and that's certainly an experience that a lot of people have. You know, and it feels like your emotions literally take you over and they control your actions. And, you know, what to do when that happens. You know, you've got the school of thought that would say, you know, take responsibility and choose different thoughts, and that's very effective. Like, that's really effective. But the thing is, when you try to go, if your strategy involves something is happening with a lot of energetic momentum behind it, and I want to do something else, and you start trying to, like, push against that momentum, like, that's just going to be a struggle. And so, as an example in real life, you know, let's say your emotions are taking you over, and there's a lot of energy there. You can't just, like, push your way through it and put a big grin on your face. If you're experiencing negative emotion, you can't just, like, instantly just go to bliss. Like, trying to obliterate those emotions just doesn't work. One of the things I found works best is just totally surrendering to it, which is probably the last thing we want to do. When we're feeling horrible, we don't want to feel horrible. We don't want to experience whatever it is we're experiencing. And ironically, it is that resistance which is creating more negativity in our lives. It's saying, no, what's happening is not acceptable. No, what's happening I don't allow. No, what's happening I don't like. I don't like life right now. I don't like what I'm experiencing, right? That's the negative experience. It's a resistance to life. It's a resistance to what is. And ironically, even though it's going to sound totally illogical, and the last thing you want to do, it's experience what you're experiencing without fighting it. Even if that means, you know, you're going to go crazy or you're going to die. Give up the fight. Give up the struggle. And just experience the heck out of life. With all its ups and downs. Ride the ride. It's a roller coaster. It's almost like, I have the question, the energies are taking me over and controlling my life actions. They can only do that when you're pushing against them. When you stop pushing back, you find the energies that seem to be pushing you, it's like they fall over. As if you have two hands, if they're like really pressing each other, if one drops, the other one does too. Like, resistance, which is, you know, all your negative stuff, all that we experience, all our negative stuff is resistance. If you stop resisting the resistance there in the first place goes away. It's basically, don't fight it. Don't resist. The question continues, I know the negative thoughts and feelings aren't who I am in essence. Good. They're just things that are arising. They're thoughts and they're feelings that come and go. They're not who you are. And I have tried, and there's a dozen here, you know, different techniques and strategies and, you know, stuff, meditations, all this stuff. And I've had a few changes, but nothing lasts, and I'm getting an overwhelm of negative feelings, thoughts, and emotions. Yeah. Not about, I mean, eventually it's like, yeah, it's overwhelming, it's too much, and you just give up and you're like, I can't do this anymore. That's we think is we hit rock bottom. I can't do this anymore. I've been trying for years, and maybe I can, conjure up the power, but just, this is too much. And on a personal development level, personal power, yeah, you can do it, anything is possible. On that level, this is like the worst thing to admit, that I can't do it. Right? Never say never, never give up, right? We're taught, don't ever give up. But ironically, that's actually what can lead us directly to freedom. It's when you stop struggling and stop fighting against it, call it surrendering to God or to a higher power, or just, if you don't even want to do that, there's just a giving up. Like a genuine, you just stop fighting. And to make it worse for a little bit, and then you don't even fight that, and suddenly you stop fighting and you realize there's this peace here. There is this freedom here that I don't have to create, that can't be created, and can actually never be lost. All it required was for me to give up the fight, to quit trying to fix it, to let go of the assumption that there was something wrong in the first place that needed to be fixed. Turns out that idea that something needs to be fixed, wrong. Yeah, like eventually you see, man, sure, you can transform energies, you can let go of limitations, you can bring more light into the darkness, you can heal energies. Yeah, all that. But there's nothing broken with the system, there's nothing wrong with what is. It's all happening according to plan. There is this divine orchestration. Nothing is wrong, nothing is broken. And unless you're there, they may sound like empty words. They may sound useless. Or they may sound like, a great quote to post on Facebook or Twitter. But it's about living that and discovering it for yourself and seeing there's nothing to fix. And there's nothing broken. And you said at the beginning of your question, you want to give up seeking. That's how. You just give up. Just stop fighting. Stop trying to fix it. Because if there's nothing broken, you can't fix it. So long as we play the game of, broken and fixed. As long as you're trying to fix stuff, you're always going to find something broken. They go hand in hand. A friend of mine recently she's been a healer for many years. She's finding all of her friends, would come to her to be healed. And she eventually had to let go of her identity as a healer and say, as long as I'm going to be a healer, in order for me to do that, I have to keep, on some level, creating problems for myself to heal. I have to create things for myself to heal. And eventually, she discovered for herself, she had to give up the role of healer in order for everything to be okay. In order for there to no longer need to be anything to be healed. And the thing is, you have to go through the healing process to get there. You have to go through the healing to find that there's nothing that needs to be healed. As paradoxical as that is, you have to go through the fixing to find that there's nothing left to fix. You have to go through the struggle to find that the struggle was never necessary. Strange.